I'm here with Kevin Bocek, and he is the VP of Security Strategy and Threat Intelligence at Venafi. How are you doing, Kevin?
I'm doing great, Danielle. It's great to be here.
Thanks for joining us. He's going to talk about some of the latest trends in phishing, particularly those that go after system administrators or certificate authorities. Can you tell us about wildcard certificates?
So wildcard certificates, of course, can be used to establish trust for any server on a domain. So if I've got mydomain.com, it can then be used for any server, help.mydomain.com and the like. And what we're finding is, of course, that organizations aren't keeping track of these very, very valuable digital certificates, and then cyber criminals are using them. And one of their favorite efforts then is to be able to trick, essentially to spoof trusted websites. We've seen where the attackers are using for phishing, waterhole attacks, and of course, again, it glows green in the browser. It looks like it's trusted. It looks like the real site. And I think that's a trend that we're seeing, is that cyber criminals are looking to target trust. They're looking to establish trusted status because we've gotten better, of course. We've gotten more detection mechanisms, more intelligence about what their tools and methods are. And so detection methods are getting better. So they're looking then to change their attacks and gain trusted status. And I think, all of that is an indicator that Gartner's seen is they see that by 2017, 50% of all network attacks will use SSL, something that we thought was trusted. Yeah. Of course, that's trust established by digital certificates.
Yeah. And we've been seeing, issues with securing SSL with, the FTC has gone over some of the major companies like Fandango or Credit Karma for their apps not having that. I mean, is that pretty common for the companies not to protect stuff like credit card information or social security numbers sent over the phones?
It is. It's estimated about 40%, at least 40% of all mobile apps that use SSL actually aren't validating the digital certificates. So that allows me as an attacker essentially then to spoof a domain, use my own certificate, completely fake and bogus, and have a man-in-the-middle attack. I can get in between you, your customers, and the app and steal their data. And we've seen it happen where just in the last couple of months, we've seen dozens of completely fake, bogus digital certificates found on the internet. But again, if your mobile app isn't validating those digital certificates, then they're just taken as trusted, and the criminals can make off with data.
But have you seen any new attack methods that we should note via phishing, like the emails coming from an internal employee? What should be noted?
Well, what we know is that one of their prime areas now from an adversarial perspective is targeting systems administrators. We've seen the iHunt sysadmins revelations come out of the Edward Snowden documents, where we know the NSA is targeting sysadmins. They're, again, using things like social networking. LinkedIn is a great tool of the cyber criminals to be able to target, and I can target a systems administrator, and then I can look then to gain things like their SSH keys. SSH allowed me to have privileged access. It's encrypted, it's trusted, and it never expires. From what we've seen in organizations time and time again. And one great example of that was the Mask APT group, which for 7 years was compromising hundreds of organizations, stealing SSH keys. And even to this day, even though their malware has been discovered, it's likely those SSH keys haven't been turned over. Those attackers still have access and privileged access into organizations. So that targeting of systems administrators is one new wrinkle that we're seeing with the likes of phishers and spear phishers. It's all about gaining, again, trusted status, access to the most valuable intellectual property.
So what's the answer? What do people do next if the administrators or the people that are tech savvy themselves are being targeted?
Well, the first thing is, we've got to protect trust, what provides trusted status. And so that's digital certificates, things like SSH keys. And what we've seen is that there's just a lack of awareness. So you've got to start with gaining awareness into actually what's being used. And IT security professionals even will be shocked to what they'll find. They'll find tens of thousands of digital certificates, SSH keys in their organization that they didn't know about. So first it starts with awareness. Then once you get to awareness, you can fix some vulnerabilities. We find time and time again there are vulnerabilities. Things like the rampant use of wildcard certificates. You just shouldn't be using wildcard certificates everywhere across the network. Very specific use cases. So fix those. Then you actually get to enforce policy. And then what's really important as well is then be able to respond, either respond automatically by policy, or when you have a network incident, there's an intrusion, and your incident response team goes in, just don't reimage the server, but also change the SSL keys, the SSH keys.
Here we have Kevin Bocek over at Venafi. Please tune in next time because we have some great stuff lined up for you at scmagazine.com.